Our love for the Lord, one aspect of it is how much we love one another. And we can sometimes evaluate our love for Jesus by how much we love difficult brothers and sisters in the church because they are part of the same family. I want you to turn to John chapter 17. We read yesterday that we love Jesus because he first loved us. And it's because Jesus loved us first that we also love one another. So you cannot separate our love for Christ from our love for one another as believers. Sometimes we concentrate on that vertical aspect only. I want to endure in love for my Lord. But I have found from my life that uh, sometimes it can be deceptive. There are two arms to the cross, loving the Lord with all our heart and loving one another. You can't have a cross without two arms. So one way all of you brothers and sisters can check your love for the Lord right now is by asking yourself, how much do you love the brothers and sisters sitting here? Particularly some of the difficult ones. And give yourself some marks for that. And then you will know how much you love Jesus Christ. It's a very good test because we can very easily deceive ourselves by saying, oh, I love Jesus with all my heart. But is this brother living in this church whom I cannot stand the sight of him? That is a deception. Because then it is a very selfish attitude we take and we are deceiving ourselves. So it's good for us to wake up from that and ask ourselves whether our love is only vertical. It must be vertical and the two arms of the cross, remember. Because once before I come to John 17, I wanted you to turn to Matthew's Gospel and Matthew's Gospel, chapter 22. Somebody asked the Lord a test. Matthew 22, a lawyer. A lawyer means a Bible scholar in those days. Matthew 22:35. He asked him a question to test the Lord. Imagine they were testing Jesus. These scholars, these Jewish scholars. So we read here, they asked him, Teacher, Matthew 22:36, which is the great commandment in the law? And he said, the greatest commandment in the entire law is love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. There are so many commandments in the law, 613 commandments in the law of Moses. But all of them can be summed up in love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And everything else, if those 613 commandments don't come out of that love for the Lord God, then it is worth nothing. Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments. So we keep a good conscience out of love for the Lord. But then in answering, he asked only for one question. What is the one great commandment of the law? Verse 36, and Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. That is the great commandment. But it's as it were, he was saying, I'll tell you what's written on the other side of the coin. Every coin has got two sides. Every currency note has got two sides. So you can't just look at one side. If it's only one side, it's a counterfeit. Counterfeit coin, counterfeit currency note. Please remember this. If it is only love for the Lord, and the other side, there's no love for one another, it is a deception. It's a counterfeit love. You're fooling yourselves. So that's why Jesus said here, you asked me for one commandment, but I want to tell you that that one commandment has got two parts. One is love the Lord your God with all your heart, and the second, verse 39, you love your neighbor as yourself. Why did Jesus give two answers when he asked only for one? What is the great commandment? Because it's like you can't give half a coin to somebody with only one side. When you give a coin to somebody, both sides are there. When you give a currency note to somebody, it's printed on both sides. So remember this always, that love for the Lord is tested by our love for one another. So to endure in love for the Lord means to endure in love for one another. And it's very good that the Lord has given us this practical test by which we can find out, because God in heaven is invisible. And it's very easy for us to fool ourselves that we love Jesus, because that can be a very emotional thing. Oh Lord, I love you so much, you died for me. But the test is, can you love that brother who's sitting next to you? Or that sister whom you see so often in the church? Are there some sisters you like to avoid because you think they're not so spiritual? Well, we were not very spiritual when Jesus loved us. Jesus did not love us because we were spiritual. I know he certainly did not love me because I was spiritual. I had sort of worldly ambitions and all before I was converted. I wanted to become a big person in the world. But he loved me at that stage and taught me that I got to love other people like that too. So that's very, very important that we test our love by our love for one another and see that the two commandments which Jesus spoke are like the two sides of a coin. So in John 17, Jesus says here, John's Gospel, chapter 17, verse 6, I have manifested your name to the men you gave me out of the world. They were yours and you gave them to me, and they have kept your word. And verse 8, the words you have given me, I have given them. See, Jesus is trying to show how he loved his Father. He loved his Father by serving these disciples and praying for them. I ask on their behalf. I do not ask on behalf of the world, but those whom you have given me. And you have given me, all things are mine are yours, and all things are yours are mine. And now he says, I'm no longer in the world, but I'm praying for these people who are here. And my great burden, this is John 17, verse 11. Father, please keep them in your name, that they may be one, even as we are one. If I love the Lord with all my heart, I will have a similar desire as Jesus has. You know, if Jesus is my bridegroom and we are part of the bride, a wife must have the same desire as the husband. She must be wanting to go in the same direction, hand in hand with her husband. God put Adam and Eve together in the Garden of Eden. He said to Adam, I want to give you a helper suitable for you. And that's the picture of the Christ and the bride. We